Uh, I wanted to introduce our guest, Michael Taylor here. He's the new uh, guy I just started working with in the Holistic Justice League, which we work with Purium, which is like an organic superfood company. And that's kind of how I met a lot of the people in this group and through people of those people. Mama JL over here, she's a long time, she's an OG in the game here. And Mallory and Trent and Nathan and Millie Rock and all you guys, Veronica, um, Tupo. What's up, Tupo? See
What's
you
up,
there.
bro?
Good to see you.
Good to see you
So,
too.
so Michael, I mean, I didn't come like fully prepared, like didn't do a preparation interview with you, but we've been talking for a while about you and your journey, your health journey, and you're what 20
28.
28, right on.
Yeah.
So, Michael, tell us a little bit about yourself, man. Give us your story in your own words, just like how you see yourself.
Um, I kind of see myself as like I guess you'd say survivor. I don't like to just term myself as a survivor, but you could categorize me as that. That would sum it up pretty well. Um, yeah, I came up through like a pretty rough childhood, like a lot of people go through, and just I don't know, always stayed positive, always found a way. So like coming up, I guess I grew up, I could take it way back. I kind of was like on the streets with my mom, and I didn't know my dad, and we were like living like in and out of motels and stuff, and literally like eating out of trash cans. I could remember one time they went and got some food out of a trash can, and I asked if it was okay to eat, and they were like, yeah. So I ate it or whatever. It was fine. But yeah, so I grew up like that, and then I got taken away from my mom at a young age, around I think like 3 or something. I think I bit her in the toe. I was too young to remember, and she bit me back, and someone called the CPS. So they removed me from the house, and then well, from the home, and then yeah, after that, just kind of in and out of foster homes like my whole life. I've literally been through like 20 different foster homes, and I've experienced a lot of different type of people. So I kind of have like a unique feel for people, I guess. Like I understand like a lot of different walks of life. So I mean, it's a blessing. I was lucky. Nothing bad never really happened to me. Nothing I never did to myself. But yeah, my story. I'm probably gonna jump around a lot because that's just like how I spin it. But yeah, when I was little too, living with my mom, um, after being removed from the home once, uh, I my grandparents in Washington ended up. I was originally born in Washington State, by the way. So my grandparents in Washington, they um, they took me under, and then my mom ended up moving with us, and she wasn't really supposed to and stuff, so she stayed with us for a while. Then my grandma Pat, she worked at a bar, and it's called the Eagles, and she used to always take me there. It's real cool. Um, go hang out with the older crowd, and you're a little kid. You're not really like no other kids around. So I kind of grew up like that too, always hanging out with the older like people, the older crowd, taking it in. And so my grandma Pat, I guess she had a bunch of debt and problems in her life and stuff, and she ended up committing suicide. And kind of how it happened was like, as I remember, I was in the room with her on the waterbed, and I loved like the waterbed. So I would play with her on the waterbed and stuff, and she's in there crying. She has a bunch of paperwork out. I don't know what it is. I asked her like if she's okay. She said, "Yeah, baby, I'm fine." So I was like, "Okay." And she's like, "Could you do me a favor?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she she asked me if I could like leave the room And so I left the room, and then I didn't close the door. She asked me to turn back around and close the door. So I turned back around, closed the door, and then I get like halfway down the hallway, and like there's this loud bang. And I knew about guns, but I didn't know like about guns. Like I didn't know the sound and everything. And so straight down the hallway was my mom and my grandfather at the time. He wasn't like my he was married in, so but he was a cool dude. And they knew immediately what it was. They said, Michael, like come here, like don't go back. And me being curious, I went back and I opened the door and I saw my grandma laying right there um, on the floor. And like I seen what I think was probably her brain matter, like, like on the wall, and there was blood everywhere. So I was so young. I didn't really know. Like, like it didn't fully hit me. So, like my mom and them came and swooped me up, and then, yeah, um, got rid of the waterbed. Me being little minded, I was bummed about that. But yeah, I lost my grandma, and then stayed with my mom for a while. Um, my sister's biological father, my stepdad Ronnie, he came back into the picture because we were always hopping around states, moving around and stuff. I wasn't supposed to be with my mom. She had, I guess, kidnapped me back from previously from the first time getting taken away. She had like taken me from my other family, and she said she was going to take me out to eat, and she didn't bring me back. So they were kind of looking for her. So we're hopping around. But so Ronnie, my stepdad, comes back into the picture, and then he's there for a while, and went through a real abusive relationship with him. Um, I was a bad kid too. Like I would run away and not come home when I was supposed to, and everything. Like I couldn't imagine having a kid like me, like so young and just out there, just being kind of rebellious or whatever, just doing my own thing. Like literally, there's CPS reports and stuff of me being like like 5 years old, like 6 miles away on a bike at like 10 o'clock at night on a stolen bike at that. But yeah, so after that, it got taken away again. And then they said they found my father. So I was about 8. Um, well, after I got taken away, I'm sorry, I was about 5.5, going on 6. And then I was in a foster home for about 2.5 years or something. And then they contacted like my foster parents and the social workers, and they said like, oh, we found his father, like we want to see if he wants to meet him and everything. So I met him, and then my aunt was with him, and then they were down here in California at the time, and so they came up to Washington to meet me, and then they eased into it like, oh, did you like it, blah blah blah, would you consider like moving with them, living with them? And so it was like a pivotal point. I I could have stayed where I was at, and the people I was with they're real awesome, real nice house. I was out there getting it, catching salamanders, frogs, snakes, like in the woods, having fun. And then so I chose to go with my dad, and this when I was about 8. And then so everything processed and went through, and then I moved down here to California. We stayed in Washington for 2 weeks, and then we came down here. My grandfather came and picked us up, and then my aunt was having problems with her boyfriend. She stayed in Washington, which was kind of ironic because she stayed a few cities like away, but me, of course, I had no clue. But yeah, so she ended up moving down with us, and then I stayed with my dad and my grandparents, and from about 8 to 13. And at first, it started off real, real cool, and he seemed real decent. He didn't really have anything good going for him. Like he didn't have a great job and stuff. He was still there with his parents, and my grandfather ran a pool business, so he helped him out, and like kind of like a trade off, like room and board, and he got a little ducats, but nothing crazy. But so he didn't have much going for him, but um, I didn't know that he had like a real bad meth addiction. And so as it like unfolded the um through the 5 years that I was with him, um, it started to get kind of worse and worse. And he was like going through like these patterns where like one week he's real cool, and like, oh, we're gonna get out of here and tell you all the good stuff. And then like the next week he's like, oh, F the world and all the rest of it. So um that was real hard for me to kind of like try to understand the psychology, because I didn't really know about like the drug factor. So I eventually found out and stuff, but he wasn't changing. He was trying, but people that smoke meth have like a real difficult time getting off of it, and it kind of like it ate him up. So um yeah, I watched my dad deteriorate. Like he would uh he would be chewing, he would bite into an apple, his teeth would start falling out and stuff real bad. And so around the age of 13, excuse me, he he committed suicide at the house I'm staying at right now in the garage. Um we had like a little mishap, I guess, at the house. I I stayed at my aunt's house for a weekend, and he got like mad. He was in one of his bad weeks, and then he sent my grandma to come pick me up from her house, because like I wasn't really trying to go back, because I was just tired of his negative energy and stuff. So my grandma comes to get me. I go back. He beats me up. Um, the neighbors or something called the cops. The cops came the next day, arrested him, and this is around 2005, like July, beginning of July, um, close to 4th of July. And so he got locked up for about 2 weeks, and then he got out, and um, like he was trying to switch it up, but he just couldn't kick his habit. So sorry, my throat's dry. But so he couldn't kick the habit. He tried to talk to me. I was still in like I still had a bad taste in my mouth, because he whipped my ass pretty good. And so I kind of gave him like the cold shoulder, and like I don't know, like maybe 2 days later. So the 4th of July happened. I spent the night at the house, and he was trying to play like good dad. And then July 7th is when he committed suicide. And so it was like a matter of like a few days after the 4th of July. And then after that, then my aunt took legal guardianship of me, and I stayed with her for a while. But she was like in her like late 30s, about to be 40, and she met this real young guy, and they were all into the juggalo, like ICP, real kind of like twisted stuff or whatever. I mean, I don't have like I'm down with the juggalos, but I'm not down with the juggalos, if you get me. But so she got with him. He was 24 at the time, and then she had a bunch of kids. She had my cousins and then me, and then she went back with the grandparents. So she wasn't being responsible, and she's off with this guy. And so we're kind of like taking care of ourselves, which I was used to. So it wasn't really like that big of a thing. And then yeah, so and then after that, uh her boyfriend started becoming like abusive and stuff, and I was doing real bad in school and just being a knucklehead. And then one day, I was just like, I'm not gonna go home. So I went to the police station and I told them I don't want to go home. And they're like, why and stuff. And I just kind of like told them that like I didn't feel like family. So after that, I got put back into foster homes, and then that's when I was in most of my foster homes. Was hopping around in Moreno Valley out here in the Inland Empire, and so yeah, I went to like all the high schools out there and everything. Luckily, um, like I graduated and stuff, but yeah, and then after I graduated and met a bunch of cool people and not some not so cool people, and all along the way you're trying to figure yourself out and like figure out your placement in life and what you're gonna do and like your purpose and stuff. So um I don't know, like I just never really knew what I wanted to do, like, but because I've always been kind of like free spirited, and I get like I have like a lot of different things that I'm into that I like to do. So I'm like a jack of all trades, but a master of none. But yeah, so I kind of like after high school, I was considering the military, and then I don't know, like I just like kind of questioned myself, and I was like, well, is that like do they brainwash you? Like I really just was asking myself simple questions, and I was like, well, yeah, of course, like. So I talked myself out of going to the military. Um, I did a little bit of the community college, completed like a semester, and then I went to the second half of the semester, but I didn't complete it because I started fouling up and smoking weed and showing up to class high and not paying attention and stuff. So kind of like didn't really um, set my heart into school like that. I just felt like I was kind of buying time, but all along, still asking myself too, well, like, what are we gonna do? Like, we got to get with the program. So I was after not finishing high school or college, my bad. Um, then I was back at my grandparents, kind of stuck again, and then things started shifting like around the age of 22. So I was there for about what 3.5 years because after foster home I emancipated, and then I went back with my family. And thankfully I have family because a lot of people, they don't have anyone to go home to. So um, I was grateful for that. So I was there for 3.5 years or so, and then things started kind of switching quick, and it felt good, but it felt too quick. And what I mean is like, so I had a couple jobs. I got a couple little dead end jobs, like warehousing out here in Marina Valley and stuff, and trying to juggle like um, transportation and everything, just normal stuff. And then like I had got a little bit of money, and then I got a street bike because I'm a free spirit, and so I get my bike, and then and they say when you get a motorcycle that you sold half of your life away, like right there. So, and I would before I had my bike, I had a lot of anticipation leading up to it, watching videos and stuff of people doing cool stunts, and then also watching the videos of people crashing. Trying to get my uh, learn off of other people's bad experience, because we all tell ourselves like nothing bad is ever going to happen to me. But so barely after like 2 months of having my motorcycle, This is an old bike too, by the way. It's like this was a 2000 uh GSXR 750. So it was like an older street bike, and they had already been like abused or whatever because I didn't really have a lot of cash flow. So I should have waited, of course, and you know, maybe even not got a bike or got a better bike. But long story short, my brakes were bad on the bike, and my seals on the forks were blown. So as soon as I would hit the brakes, it would bottom out. So it was kind of like a recipe for disaster. And I had that day when I wrecked because I had my motorcycle accident. Um, I had asked a few friends and my cousin and stuff if they would give me a ride, but everyone was busy. Everyone was doing what they had to do. So I'm sitting there, thinking like, oh, should I go? But like I just love riding, so I wanted to ride. It's like a type of escapism or freedom. But so I had asked my buddy Benjamin, um, my guy Ben Sick, if I should go. And he's like, yeah, man, like you got it. Like you're good. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. You know what? Like I'm good. Like I'll just ride like normal. So I leave. But before I leave, I say, joking around with my friend, not knowing the power of words, that I was like, oh, I might die or something, like, because my brakes were pretty bad. And there was a little more to that, I might die, like, or whatever. But I kind of like, I do remember like kind of like patching it up at the end, saying like no, I'll be good. I'm just like, just joking or whatever. But so I ended up crashing, and not even like a mile and a half from my house. So I'm going down this main road, splitting the lanes, and I didn't really feel comfortable riding in between cars because you can't trust people. You never know what they're gonna do. So I was trying to get ahead of the pack, but this is around like 4:30, so people are kind of like starting to get off of work. There's a lot of traffic, and I want to say I was like maybe like 10 cars back from being in the front, and we're coming up on this light, 7th and Sanderson. And the light's green, and normally I'm pretty good with being able to time lights. So not perfect, but like we all time lights. And so I'm trying to call it, and it's green, it's sticking. So I speed up a little bit. Now I'm doing like 65 and 70 because I'm trying to push ahead of these cars. And then it hits yellow. And then I'm like, and that's where I messed up, is I second guessed it. So I was thinking like, okay, should I run this light or like just take it or whatever? And I would have, but the intersection was very like small. And so like I got up maybe started kind of like getting off the like gas, applying the brakes a little bit. And then as I'm coming up to like the second towards like the first car, still like kind of like going pretty quick, um I see like this truck, my bad. I see this truck out of the right of my peripheral, and it's already like halfway through the gutter, and it's going to be in the intersection. So I was like, I don't want to hit the gas and then smack this truck and then go flying like you see like all the videos and stuff, and if you watch them. And then I was like, so I'm gonna have to lock it up. But where I messed up was waiting too long. I should have just played it safe like I had originally intended. So I wrecked. I don't know exactly what happened. I don't know if I hit a car, like, because I wasn't completely out through the cars yet. So I went to the left, my bike went to the right, hit another car, the bike caught on fire, and then I think I was like 80 feet to the left, all the way on the left hand side of the oncoming traffic, like completely through the intersection. And one of my friend's dads, he was getting off of work. He was caught up in the traffic. He didn't know it was me that wrecked, but he said he seen a body laying on the floor, motionless. And so he thought I was a goner. Um, but I guess when the ambulance came, um, I came to, and I started talking to him, and I started telling him everything, my information, who I am, like my address, everything, who to contact. I don't remember any of it. Um, but so they rushed me to Moreno Valley Hospital, Riverside Regional Medical Center, and that's about, if you're doing the speed limit, that's about 25 minutes away from where I wrecked. So it's not really close because that was the nearest trauma center. And they said I was talking to him the whole way, um, staying conscious and everything. I don't remember any of it because I was in shock, and I guess there's such a thing as spinal shock. So I had that. So after wrecking, everything black, I wake up in the hospital. It's like a nightmare come true, or like you see a bad movie and it's like that times 1,000. It's like I don't know. For my case, I was completely like I had no energy, could not move. As soon as they noticed, I was like I was actually talking to them, and it wasn't like the drugs or like something else or whatever. But they knew I was there, communicating with them. They were like, "Don't sit up. Like, do not sit up. Um, you're in a major motorcycle accident. You injured your spine. If you try to sit forward, we're afraid." Because I had like a burst fracture right in the middle of my spine. It's a T10 through your thoracic, and so honestly, I couldn't have sat up if I wanted to. Like I was tapped. So I had road rash everywhere. Like me being smart, I was wearing cargo shorts and tennis shoes and all the right gear. So yeah, they couldn't find my shoes or my visor or anything. My iPhone, though I was completely wrecked, um, for the most part, my iPhone uh didn't have a scratch on it, and it was in my pocket, and I was amazed at that. I was like, man, I've dropped my iPhone before and it cracks like nothing. So yeah, I had fractured my spine in 5 different places, and they were really concerned about the T10, the one in the middle of my back, because it was a burst fracture and it literally looks like an X on the X-ray. And so they called for spinal fusion surgery, which is where they place in 2 titanium rods that go parallel up your spine, and then they kind of bridge it, and they put screws into each of your vertebrae that aren't damaged to kind of bridge the gap over the damaged vertebrae so that it will support like your weight, your mobility, and everything. And then I'd split my pelvis in the back, and they said I was really lucky because I guess when you split your pelvis, when it cracks, usually it cracks in the front and the back, and that's really hard to fix. Usually, a lot of people don't make that. So what they immediately did was put 2 pelvic screws into my right side of my hip, and then to put put my pelvis back together. And then I had massive internal bleeding in my spine and in my urethra. And I guess it's also common with males that get into motorcycle accidents that the more distended or the more filled up your bladder is with urine, the more damage it causes on impact. So, um, I mean, I don't remember having to go pee or anything, but I guess that was pretty bad. So that was actually the hardest internal bleeding that um, they had to have stopped. And at the hospital, throughout the course of about 2.5 weeks, I had 48 bags or pints of red blood cells, platelets, and I forget the other, but um, I had 48 pints of blood transfused because of the massive internal bleeding. And then from the pelvis injuries, um, it created a stricture. It's like a scar tissue blockage in my urethra pathway. So I can't like urinate normally. So what they did was like how they create a stoma in people's necks or throats. They put a hole pretty much straight to my bladder, and that's how I use a catheter. And honestly, this Purium's great too because it hasn't been clogging or giving me any trouble really. Like with my previous bad diet, it was real mucusy, like it would get clogged, and sometimes I would have to switch it upwards of like 2 and 3 times a week, which is really not good. Um, like normally you would switch it once a month or so, and yeah, like the catheter stuff is no fun because they pretty much told me, like this could cause you bladder cancer, and so they say after about 10 years, because of the irritation of the foreign object, because your body is rejecting it and it's constantly trying to heal that wound and push that foreign object out. Um, over time it wears you down. So, and I'm already what 6 years into this, so I really have to start managing my health and manning my post because if I don't, then I might not be here too much longer. So, the Purium products they're great. I mean, I'm not even on the full transformation yet. I've just been taking the Power Shake and the Bio Fruit that my boy Angelo hooked it up with so generously, and that stuff's awesome. So I can't wait to get into the aminos and the apothecary and the can't beat this and all that good stuff, and spread the word too, because people need to know. People need to know that there's an alternative to the standard American poisoning that we condition ourselves to.
Thanks,
But
man.
yeah,
Thank you for sharing that, Michael. And wow, that's a crazy story. How do you stay so upbeat? I mean, I follow all the stuff that you're posting. You seem like you're a very spiritual guy. You're very in tune with everything that's going on. You've been through so much trauma, and yet you're so active. You and I talked before, and you said that you were like a guy from a movie who was like, what was it? What were we mentioning? There's a guy in a movie who's like in a wheelchair who he's always trying to not let anyone help him. You said
oh
you're
yeah, yeah, it's the scary movie, the comedy, when the guy's like, he's like, I could do it myself or whatever. Like that's kind of like, I'm not like that, but I like my independence that I've grown into because um after my accident you're just depressed, like you don't you don't know what your capabilities are, so it's kind of like retesting the water. And like I've seen other people, and when I was in the rehab, and they would come visit you and try to kind of like show you like, hey, like it's all right, like it happens. um but the lady, she was like, like I cook, I clean, I do laundry, I everything. So I was like, okay. But at the time, still kind of being tapped, I was like, I can't even think of doing that stuff. But now, dude, I do it all. So
That's great. That's great, man. And thank you for sharing this with us. I think people need to know your story because it's most people can't even comprehend the stuff that you've been through in your life, and yet you're living from a place of gratitude and love. And
Have to.
you know, I know that you say stuff like you were a bad kid or whatever, but you know, there's no such thing as a bad kid. You know, like kids are just kids, and you know, we've been through a lot. And damn, man, does anybody have any questions for Michael? Um, know if you got anything. He's pretty open to talking about anything because you know,
Yeah,
no
yeah.
holds
Ask me
barred.
anything.
What do you
Nobody.
do? What do you do to feel like don't get depressed? You know what I'm saying? Because it's so easy to fall into those deep depressing, states, man. And let me just say, you're a fucking warrior, dude. Like you were telling your story, and I'm just like, God damn, damn, damn. You know what I mean? And you're just such a sweet soul, man. You're a sweet soul to have gone through so much, and you know what I mean, still have that light in you. I was watching your eyes when you were telling your story, man, and I can feel it. I can feel it, bro. And this is your family now, man. This is your family, man. You know what I mean? So you are loved, bro. So what are some things that you did to get you out of that depression? You know what I mean? Because you got out of hell, like some deep levels of hell.
Yeah, thank you for that. To get out of the depression, I think it's like I like to call it like almost like a self-initiation. Like you have to give yourself the benefit of the doubt and know that like you're not necessarily like responsible for um all the happenings, so I still get times where like stagnant, I get stuck. um I think we all go through it, but it's other people that
Dude, I'm gonna give you a big ass hug when I see you, man. I'm gonna give you the biggest hug that you've ever gotten in your fucking life, man.
Yeah, Michael, you're a warrior. You're beautiful, man. You keep going each and every day. Keep breathing. Yeah, man. I'm gonna give you a big hug too. Straight up, straight up.
Purveyors of hell hug.
I
Everybody hug your screen.
didn't show it, but you made
cyber
me
head.
tear up over here.
Yeah, I love all you guys
But
too.
look, straight up, this is the community you have. So there's people. Yeah, you get hit up. All these people, and there's give you the vibrational energy you need. Vibration is the master weapon. You
Yes.
have everything within you already, and that's why where you are now. And yeah, you're beautiful. You're showing so much light. Everything you just said. It's so hard to talk about. So hard to talk about for so many people. Things that, yeah, all those things, all those hard things you've been through, and you're so full of light. That's what's up. And you've helped get rid of that darkness out of you and people around you, whatnot. And yep. You
Yeah,
got everything. You got everything.
it's constant, bro. It's
But day
constant.
by
You have
day,
to.
1%, each day.
Yeah, every step, every small step, get you one step closer to your
And then the one thing, as you build yourself, in this good spiritual community, you'll find people just raise you right up, just raise you right up. And then, as you can't go to you can go to church, but some people, they aren't going to give you the vibrational energy that you truly need. Or just try to speak you something into you, or just even out on people out on the streets or whatnot. But thing is, right now is the time. It's the time, baby. It's the great
church.
reset, the great awakening.
It's funny you mentioned church. Church is actually an old a word that comes from, I think it's a Scottish word, Captain Kirk, and the Starship Enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
Dealing with banking. Churches goes back to also Mother Xerxes, and she was a enchantress.
It does.
And she would hypnotize people, and she would bring them into her chambers, and she would feed off their energy. So I don't go to
see,
church.
it's so funny you mentioned that, right there. Yeah, man, you got the knowledge within you, and that's Yeah, that's why you've been able
Nothing
to
against Coach Joe,
overcome.
by the way.
Oh
Nothing
yeah, yeah,
against Coach.
yeah. No, but man, I could just, yep, I can see the knowledge within you, the light within you, and that's why you are where you are now. And sheesh, man, yeah, yep. And I mean, and then the superfoods are our health is the number one thing, and then that's you just keep focusing on your health each day, and then you're just gonna 1% each day. You're gonna get closer and closer, and bam, just lift right off.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And Michael also like he kind of plays down himself sometimes, but like Michael is knows a lot about astrology. I mean, you're brilliant, man. You know so much about a lot of things. If you guys don't follow him on Instagram, like your posts are fire, man. All the stuff you put out there is really inspiring to me. And um was it what's your Instagram handle?
It's Sunwill 432.
That's right.
It was Soundwill, but I'm giving my praise and worship to the sun. That's where actually the word Bible, Bible, basic instructions before leaving Earth, and it's the Helios Biblios. It's talking about the sun. All these ancient religions and modern religions, um, though they've been kind of watered down and their texts have been perverted and some of them have been taken out because the Bible is a compilation of books throughout time, um, that it's all sun worship, and um, and there's nothing wrong with that, and that's where you get the concept of light and darkness. And so Saturn is Satan, if you will. Saturn is like material. People who worship materialism and the material aspect of life and experience, they're they're more so kind of like stuck on the deity or the planet or the star or the satellite, whatever you want to call it. They're stuck on Saturn, and Saturn is Father Time. It's Chronos. It takes 28 and a half, no, 29 and a half years, I believe, to cycle once fully around the sun. So the farther out you get with the planets, um, they kind of move slower. And then you get into astrology and you understand what the meanings of these planets are or what they represent and signify. And because everything in our life is symbols, words, letters, numbers, it's all symbolism. And for symbols to work, we have to be in agreement upon these symbols. Okay, so this is why these some of the for like I guess the the hidden societies, if you will, because they're not secret, because if you know about them they're not secret, but um they're into astrology and stuff like that. A lot of high religious people are into astrology, but they can control the masses in a sense by not giving or sharing that information, shedding the light, so it's all about lighting your torch bright and putting it out there, and like helping other people light their torches, because we all have a
Yep.
fire in us. And that's the thing too about astrology, is like it's all elemental. We all metabolize our experiences at different rates. Like if you're a water sign, you're more emotional. If you're an air sign, you're more intellectual, you think more. If you're a earth sign, you're more into like sensation, you're more into material and stuff, because material is not bad. It's just when you put that above all else, then it kind of can become a negative influence in your life. And what am I leaving out? uh Fire, water, earth, air. I feel like I'm Water is feelings, it's your emotions. But yeah, so we all metabolize experience at different rates. And so like a fire sign, he might go through his life experience quicker than another sign or whatever. And I think this all kind of ties into like karma and energy and transformation and creation, and how we understand these different principles in life, so it's very powerful. And I feel like this is the knowledge that's been kept from us Like we wasted all this time in school and all this, and like it may have served some, you know, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't serve everyone. And when you use these tools, because astrology, the word astrology, to sum it up shortly, astro means light and ology is like the study of. So astrology literally means the study of light. And what is God? God is light, like how they term it in the Bible and stuff. It's the giving, it brings you joy, happiness, everything, you know, it's abundant. Um, so God is light. Astrology is the study of light. It's the language of light. So when people ask me like, do you believe in astrology? I say, you know, like that's the wrong way to come at it, to question it. It's not if I believe in astrology. That's like saying, do you believe in Spanish? You know, so it's like, I know either you know astrology or you don't. And so if you don't, then you don't know how, like you don't know the framework in a sense, because astrology is a divine science. And that's why I don't like really speaking too much on it, because I'm not like super well versed into it. I'm like surface level, to be honest. And I need to tap in more. You know, that's part of my spiritual calling, to learn that so I can help, you know, spread the word to others. And so astrology and numerology and these things that are deemed by some of the religions as being like evil and stuff, they're not evil. They're tools. They're a way that you can use them for divination. You can use them to understand the mind, as psychology. You can use them to understand politics. It's crazy. But when you start tapping in, and then you like, astrology reveals itself to you like at the perfect timing, in the sense of like, you may pick a book up and read it and then say like, oh yeah, like I really needed to read that right now, like it was perfect timing. And then you'll meet someone and they will like fully prove, in a sense, or at least to your degree, like they'll prove to you, or you know, like show you that this is like true. It's an expression. Like astrology is the signs and stuff, they're expressions. They're how we express the divine energy, the oneness. You know, it breaks it up, it makes the game fun. And there's no the thing with astrology, it's neutral. So there's no good or bad planets, and there's no good or bad signs. It's just everything is what it is, in a sense. And then when you start to get the fundamentals and the understanding of it, then you say, aha, it makes sense. Like it's amazing.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for being here. If you guys, we have like about 6 more minutes left. If anyone else has any burning questions or comments to throw in, feel free to go ahead.
What's your sign, Michael? That's all I want to know. What is your birthday?
I'm a Capricornius, so I'm actually a combination of 2 signs. I'm on the cusp, like my man here, Angelo. He's on the cusp of Gemini and Cancer.
Yes,
So
sir.
he's so I'm a dust sign, because I'm Capricorn is earth, and Aquarius is air. So air and earth make dust, baby. And then
Yeah.
Angelo is air by Gemini. Gemini is air. This is why he can talk so well, and he can express it like really well. And then the Cancer is the water, so that's why he's really good at relating too. Like he's really in tune with his emotions. So water and air come together to make clouds. So he's like a cloud sign, if you will. And then the other cusp is earth, and fire is you're a lava sign, or lava, like a cusp sign. And then
That's me.
yeah, there's air and fire, and that is oh, what is that one? I'm forgetting it.
That's just
So
sexy. That's just sexy. Okay, that's what it is. That's what we know. It's sexy.
yeah.
That one is sexy. Robin has something to say. What's up, Robin?
You always know when I unmute.
I see it.
I was gonna ask you, do you study more of tropical astrology, or do you know anything about Vedic astrology? Do you have a preference either way?
I prefer sidereal or Vedic astrology, but I'm not well versed in it. Like I just because I kind of like came into astrology more tropic teachings.
Yeah, I think that's pretty normal for
Yeah.
like for Western. I mean, we're not that. I think if you're not indoctrinated necessarily in a bad way, but I think everyone here is kind of like leads in that way and then goes through to sidereal
Right.
astrology. So when you said what your sign is right now, were you which thing were you
The
doing it
dust.
for? Huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
you
I'm sorry.
No, were you talking about your sign as far as like tropical astrology, like the regular what we know now, or
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So in sidereal astrology, I would be full Capricorn pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
So
for
my
everybody that, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
Oh, just for everybody that doesn't know, it's like the difference between Western and I guess you could say as like a huge blanket term like Eastern astrology. If you look up what's my sign Vedic astrology, a lot of the times it might not change, but it might step back a bit, and it has a different meaning because it's what the Vedas used. So if you guys are interested in that, that's why I asked, because generally people have a preference.
Yeah, and with that too, I think from my understanding is that neither one of them is right or wrong. Like they're both right for their own reasons.
Yeah, I didn't know a whole lot about it, but I did see recently that someone said that, and I'm going to try to articulate this in the best way I can, that the astrology that most of us know is kind of having to do with our life experience in the 3D way, in terms of how you're operating in your 3D experience from birth. When you get a birth chart, it's kind of like what you're going to go through as like a map of your life. And then Vedic astrology is more of how you are as a contained being on your own when you are on your own, if that makes sense. So
Yeah,
internally, you might relate to that more.
Yeah, that
yeah,
was
that
pretty
makes
spot on.
perfect sense.
I don't know
Definitely.
who said that, but thank you.
I just
Yeah,
wanted to
no,
thank
we're
Michael
gonna
really
dive
quick
into
too.
we're gonna
Angelo.
dive into some astrology here
Yeah.
in future weeks for sure. I know we've got a lot of people in here that know a
Yeah.
bit about it.
Hey, Michael, thanks for your story, man. I grew up in the IE most of my life, so I can relate to a lot of what you were saying. And I couldn't believe it. Like your story took a turn when you said you got a Jixer. I was like, oh no, this is not going to end good. Yeah, but I'm glad you're still here. You got some.
Yeah.
You obviously have some purpose here, man. You got something to do, as we all do.
Yeah, I feel that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Coming from Mama J too, so you know you can take that to the bank. So yeah, man, I'm so honored to have all of you people here. This is an awesome turnout of people. Michael, this has been an amazing presentation, man. You are an inspiration to me, and I'm sure other people here feel the same way. So thank you, man.
Yeah, Michael, you're a warrior.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
thank you so much for sharing, Michael.
No, thank you guys for listening. I appreciate you.
We'll see you next time. And if any of you guys want to come check out what Michael and I and everyone else here it's involved with the Holistic Justice League is doing, I put the link down on there, and it's probably all over Instagram too. So hop on at 6 p.m. Pacific today, and Ra and Seema are going to be talking about some of the stuff that we're doing. And thanks, you guys. Much love to all of you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Love.
Thank you.
Next time, everybody.
Thank
much
you, Michael.
love.
Bye.
Yep. Everybody have a blessed night.
Yes.
Much love.